hear me out. So, as you can tell, there's a big event coming up soon. The Prime card, right? Influencer boxing. Huge thing that's coming. Huge stuff that is big for the sport of boxing, big for the sport of fighting in general. The Prime card is one of those big influencer cards that's coming up. Absolutely stacked. I mean, KSI versus Tommy Fury. There is Dylan Dennis versus Logan. I know Salt Poppy's supposed to be fighting somewhere in there. There's a rematch between Dean the Great and Waleed. There is tons of fights happening in this card. But for today, we are focusing on the Tommy Fury versus KSI face-off that I really kind of wanted to analyze as a personal boxing fan and fighting fan in general, and have been watching influencer boxing and stuff. I thought, why not throw my head into the mix, kind of commentate on different things that are happening and analyze things here and there from my perspective of what I see. So yeah, let's get into this. Let's kind of analyze what's going on here. First off, starting, I do know who KSI is. I've been watching him since I've been a kid. I am a fan, right? So to start off, I'm hopefully trying not to glaze too much, but why is KSI wearing shades, dog? Why is he wearing shades, my guy? Why are you in a dark room wearing shades? Anyways, all right, I get the whole persona. I know he's going for the whole nightmare persona recently, and he's really pushing it. He's trying to be the villain, especially right now, which I can see the odds are definitely stacked against him in this one. Tommy Fury being a professional fighter, coming from a boxing background, coming from the Furies, it is in paper. Everything kind of goes against him. KSI's the smaller guy in this. I know I think there's no rehydration clause if I'm not wrong. So that means Tommy's probably going to come in. I think they're fighting at 180, 185. I think it's 180. Tommy, after that, coming into the actual fight, is probably going to be a good 190 or a little bit more. That being said, the villain thing, I mean, I watch a lot of anime. I'll record my posters and stuff that aren't really they're not hanging up. I haven't hung anything up, but I mean, in the background you can see Zoro's sword, and I mean, what else is on there? Sasuke's grass cutter. There's just, I'm a huge fan of anime myself. I watch a lot of it. I have a bunch of One Piece things all over the room right now that are just laying on the floor because I haven't put them up. But I just can't get with that villain arc thing, man. Like, it's just not, it's not a big thing for me. It comes off a little bit cringe. I get it. It does sell a little bit. People are commenting on it. I'm commenting on it right now. But
yeah, I'm excited. October 14th, man. I'm gonna knock you out. Yeah.
From what I can see across me, you ain't knocking nothing out. I'll be honest with you now, he's a lot smaller of a man than I thought he was.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm
a fast guy. Fast,
Let
powerful.
me tell you now.
All my power's in the legs.
I'm powerful.
You don't do leg day. I can see.
And you do leg day?
Yes, all the time.
Please. 2 matchsticks you've got carrying you up.
Nope.
All right, another little bit right there. KSI is kind of talking about his power comes from the legs, which it should when you're boxing. It is a whole body type thing, right? I also don't want to speak from experience because I have never fought, right? I would love to. That would be fantastic if I could one day actually step in a ring. I really got to slim down, I kind of got to get into fighting shape. I got to do the whole Salt Poppy transformation if I really want to get into it. But it is one of those things where the power does come from the bottom up. It is one of those things where you twist into a punch, you really use your hip, you go into it. So KSI commenting on the fact that the power does come from the legs, and they're kind of making fun of each other that neither of them do leg day, or one of them does leg day and the other one doesn't, is kind of funny to me. It's just jokes. But the thing that Tommy did point out here is KSI does look, when the press conference kind of came up, Tommy did look big, man. Like, he is a unit. I mean, he's already one of those huge fellas, right? He's already big. So when commenting on the size difference, it is very apparent. It is one of those things where if you're just watching, you can tell the difference is there. You can see the difference in size, and it is one of those things that just adds to the underdog story that hopefully KSI gets.
I'm telling you now, all I've got to say is Jake Paul, I was playing games, going in there, fainting, jabbing up and down. See what I'm going to do with you?
Yeah.
I'm going to come straight to you.
Cool.
I'm going to hit you hard and harder. And I ain't going to stop until you're on the ground. I've been spying people for 6 months already in preparation for this guy. I know
found no one that fights like me.
Oh, really?
There's no
Every
one that fights
amateur
like
in the
me.
country fights like you.
There's no.
Bob.
A few things there where they said, so obviously KSI is the smaller man, so he should have speed over the other one, right? It's just the way it should go. He should have speed over Tommy. He should also, supposedly, is what they always say, is that he does have power. He's one of those people that has the power to knock out. It is one of the things that different gym mates, different people on Twitter and stuff will always say. He has knockout power. Now, is the technique there is what happens. But I can also see the contradictory point of people talking about that when you're fighting, especially a brawl, I wouldn't say boxing because boxing would be different, and I wouldn't say KSI is the most traditional boxer, right? You can see his technique kind of go sloppy in most of his fights. He'll kind of stick to it a little bit, and then it'll kind of deviate hard out of nowhere. But you can see this technique kind of working out with people like, I would say Wilder, man. Like it is one of those things where like Wilder wouldn't be the most technical boxer that you'd find out there, right? But he has that knockout power. If he gets into that mode where he just starts swinging, those swings are gonna hurt, right? Like it's gonna actually sting. It's gonna kind of give you a flash, right? It's gonna wake you up, and that kind of being the difference in between going on into the later rounds and kind of your technique slopping up. During the fight of Jake versus Tommy did outclass Jake in every way in boxing, but seeing kind of how Jake was backed up into the corner, getting outboxed by Tommy, he was throwing the same thing over and over and over again, which was that overhand right that he knocked out different opponents with. That being the case, he kept connecting, which shouldn't happen if the opponent's throwing the same exact thing. It's one of those things where it becomes apparent. He kept throwing that overhand right, and the bad thing about that was it was connecting a few times. It was actually catching him. There was a little bit where he got caught right in that fight. Tommy got caught, and it kind of stumbled him a little bit. I believe, if I recall correctly, I'll put it in there if I can find a little clip on the side, but I recall that he actually stumbled and fell, and I think they counted it as a knockdown because that's what it was, right? It was a knockdown.
Up and down,
Nope, no one fights like me. Yep.
We'll see. Do that against a professional boxer,
Yep.
and you'll see.
And then I'll knock you out, and then
We'll
you'll be
see.
like, "Whoa, where am I?
Do you
What's
know the
going on?"
funniest thing? I feel like I'm in a head wave. I've already done this before with a certain man across the pond. He said all this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna knock you
But
out.
I'm different.
You're different.
I'm KSI.
Right.
I'm different.
But you wouldn't beat Jake Paul.
I will beat Jake Paul if
You
I
won't.
wanted to. I would. I'd knock him out clean.
I don't believe.
You didn't
I
knock
don't
him
believe.
out. You got knocked down.
Another tidbit I want to throw in there really quick. The thing that does get under the skin of JJ, you can see it apparent with their little spaces, Twitter spaces, whatever it's called now, X spaces. When you go in there and you would catch him, I know I walked in a few times or joined the chat a few times, and it was Jake and KSI having like a little screaming match in the
I'm
space.
just getting more and more ready and prepared.
Bro, you fucking suck. Why don't you fucking fight Woodley? Why don't you fight Woodley? Why don't you?
The big, I don't know if it'd be the end, man. There's a lot of little stories that are up. There's none as big as the one that KSI is doing right now, but the big end game basically is KSI versus Jake Paul, and they keep delaying it, man. Like it just keeps getting pushed. It's getting shoved out of the way, and now with Tommy being thrown into the mix, it kind of threw everyone for a loop. Now that Jake lost to someone, he was on that little winning streak with those old UFC, good fighters in some sense, but not boxers, right? He was thrown into the mix, he beat them, and now Tommy's in there and it's beat Jake. So now this throws this wrench into the pool of this guy that's actually been doing it for a while, and he is trying to beat up these influencer guys. I don't know how to feel about it. I mean, I know it's this whole crossover thing, and it's neat to see, I guess. Like, if this actually does go the way that people don't think it's gonna be, and it leans towards KSI in the way that he wins it somehow, he actually brawls it out instead of boxing, because I think that's what his resort is gonna have to be. It will be a huge achievement for him. First of all, it'll be a huge achievement for him. It'll actually look great, but will that mean, I think we still need that Jake Paul versus KSI thing, but will it happen? Like, now it's going to be this thing where it'll just be held over the other's head that, well, I beat the guy you couldn't beat, so why should I face you? But I don't know.
You got knocked down. You got knocked down by Jake
Paul.
No matter what it was.
There's a knockdown.
Why are you different? What have you done? Who have you fought? You've done nothing.
It's not about who I fought. It's about who I am.
Right.
Every person always puts me as the underdog. And then when I come through and do my thing, they go, oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, but who have you fought?
I fought Logan Paul.
Logan Paul's never won a fight.
Logan Paul is a strong guy. He'll knock you out.
Yeah, but he's never won a fight. He's a wrestler.
Still, he's a very strong guy.
Yeah, but
he was in the ring with...
I don't want to take away from JJ and anything that actually is being said here, but, I mean, both of them kind of don't really have a record to brag about, do they? I mean, both of them haven't lost, I don't think, right? I think Tommy's like 10-0 or something like that. 9-0? I could be wrong here, I'm sorry. I mean, it's kind of a good point. KSI hasn't really fought anyone that's super impressive. Granted, influencer boxing, my guy, like, it's not one of those things where you're gonna keep fighting professionals all day. We don't want to see that half the time. It's nice to throw the hat into the mix and kind of get that achievement per se, where you could say, you know, right now KSI is gonna fight the professional boxer, but it's one of those things where it, you know, if you beat up the kid in the playground, you can't brag about it, you know? It's not gonna be a bragging point if I like whoop some guy that's barely had a few days in the boxing ring. It's not as impressive as beating an actual guy that's been doing it for years, right? So it's one of those things where that probably does irk JJ in some way. I can see it being an irksome type of deal. I would still say it's an achievement though, because people, God, I'm glazing, and I'm glazing. I mean, it's an achievement in of itself, man. Like, getting in the ring, actually having the cojones, you know, the actual cojones to jump in there and fight someone, and someone doing the same. You want to hurt each other in the ring, is an achievement in of itself. Of course, the skill level's different, but I mean, once you do it once, I feel like it's an achievement, man. Like,
everybody in
the ring with Floyd Mayweather.
My manager's a strong guy, but he's not a boxer.
Yeah, I mean, cool. You're a bodybuilder.
I'm not a bodybuilder. No, I'm a boxer. I've been boxing since I was a kid.
No, you're a bodybuilder that boxes.
I've been boxing since I was a kid.
You're stiff.
Stiff?
Yeah, bro.
Another thing to add there was Logan being a bigger guy. That was true during the actual face-off. Logan V1, Logan V2. I believe Logan V2, he was a little bit bigger. But he was definitely the bigger man in that, and he did end up clutching the win. So that is a little bit different in the case here, but I can see where JJ is coming from in this, and where Tommy's poking fun of him.
I'm gonna stiffen
you
your
think
jaw
you
on
think
the 14th,
you're fast?
my
You
friend.
think you're fast? Wait till you see me.
Do you know what it is?
Jake Paul, you can't compare me with Jake Paul. Don't give me this, oh, you know what it is.
Why not?
You don't know what it is.
I do know what it is.
You can't compare me to Jake Paul.
I know this fight game inside out more than you'll ever know.
Yes, you've got the experience.
Right, okay.
But I'm going to fight you. I'm not going to box you. I'm going to fight you. I'm going to stand there in the
to
middle of the
annihilate
ring.
you.
Middle of the ring, and I'm going to
annihilate you.
swing.
You think I'm going to run away from a man who's built like you?
Come.
I've got a cousin who's 10 years old who's built like you. I'm going to come to you.
That's what I was saying, that I think that KSI's best bet in this fight is actually fighting, not boxing. There's people that have that technique down, that have the basics down, that actually fundamentally are all well-rounded enough to outbox someone. When it goes down to it, Tommy is a boxer. He looks clean most of the time. I wouldn't say he's pristine in the fighting game, but he is clean most of the time. And that being said, his fundamentals are probably a little bit better than JJ's. So that would lead to him getting outboxed in the ring. Granted, we haven't seen a lot of either of them recently, but based off of last performances, I still think that stands. I'm rooting for JJ in this. It's just, it's an underdog. It's an underdog thing, man. I would love to see the upset. They would love to see it, but...
I'm going to flatten you because you're a small man.
When I hit you, you will see.
You're a small man.
When I hit you,
and you're
going
my
to
power.
be like,
Jake Paul was lucky. Jake Paul was lucky. He never got hit properly.
The amount of times he was lucky with an overhand.
Oh, what did that do?
I did nothing.
Exactly.
That's what I mean. Exactly. So compare that to me now.
But Jake Paul's a bigger man and can hit harder.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. Who have you knocked out?
Are you
Who have you knocked out? Who have you nicked out?
That irked JJ. That irked JJ. That hurt. I know that every single time someone mentions it, it's his combative. No. Competitive. His competitive factor. It is very apparent in most of the face-offs or people when they mention it. If he gets compared in any way to someone being better than him, he will compete or argue it. I remember there being a clip.
You're fighting a horse.
You're putting an arena with a horse,
like, tied up, just waiting for you to be punched.
Bro, that horse will kick you so fucking hard.
How's the horse gonna kick me when I'm just not gonna stay behind
you anyway?
It just runs at you.
And then I'll move, bang.
Oh my God, you can't even throw a proper punch against Logan.
No, fam.
Wait, a pigeon flew at this dude and he flinched.
That he was saying he could punch a horse, knock him out. Or I think it was a horse. It's just competitive factor, I guess. It's a little bit delusional. Competitive factor. I get it. It's one of those things. But again, Tommy going in on him and kind of taunting him about his fights and what's actually going on it's valid criticism, valid stuff.
I've knocked out Temper.
I don't even know who's Temper.
Face Temper.
I don't know who that is.
I've knocked him out.
I don't know who Face Temper is.
Okay, I've knocked Fournier with my forearm.
Fournier?
I didn't even get to hit with my
mother Fournier, so
okay,
let's not count that, please.
So then, when I knocked...
I like how he says the forearm thing. It's jokes, but I mean it connected, man. Like it's one of those things. I mean, it's straight bone, and it's straight bone. It's kind of hard to say that that's an achievement in of itself, but it is what it is. It was neat. I remember watching the fight. I was super gassed. I thought he had knocked him out, and then the replay came back, and I was like, ugh. I was like, yikes.
Knock you out.
And you hit him with your elbow, by the way.
October 14th. Then
just
what?
keep saying.
Are you gonna look like an idiot?
Are you following Jake Paul's script? Because it sounds like you are.
I'm not following his script.
Well, that's exactly what he said.
Man.
And what happened? He had to go back and fight Nate Diaz, who made the stinker of a show.
So who am I? KSI. Yeah,
you're not
different.
KSI.
What do you mean I'm not?
That's not your name, mate. What is your real name?
I'm KSI.
I don't want to call you KSI. I want to call you by your real name.
Olajide Olatunji.
Right, okay. At the end of the day, forget KSI. I'm in the ring with you.
Cool.
And when you're in the ring with me, you're going to mess with somebody who's been fighting the whole life. And I'm going to plow through you.
Cool, we'll see.
Are you surprised he called you out?
All right. Before they get into that next point, yeah, I mean, it is constantly thing that Tommy's going to keep bringing up. I mean, who has JJ fought, It is one of those things where in the influencer world, if you were just watching and it is purely influencers, right? Not to be biased or anything, purely influencers, you only see the competitive factor. So when JJ first started up, right? Like I said, I've been watching him for a while. So Joe Weller came up. He had been doing it for a while. He had started doing it. He was the whole story of JJ being the underdog. JJ won, right? It was neat. It was really cool to see that someone that had a little bit more experience in the factor won over the one that, was the one that wasn't supposed to win. Then came that fight. Bigger, badder brother, supposed to be Jake, I believe, at first. Then he kind of didn't want the fight. He took the bigger, badder brother, supposedly. And came in, they tied. It wasn't a blowout. Everybody thought it was going to be a blowout. Logan 2 came around. JJ won. It is one of those things where it is impressive in of itself because it's just the matchups you wouldn't think that happened. You wouldn't think that would actually go down in the match. So then came the Swarms and Pineda one. That one was all right, man. Like, I mean, the Swarms and Pineda thing was kind of yikes, you know? I mean, Swarms had 2 weeks or something to train. He's looking way better now. Shout out to Swarms. He's looking way better now. He's better shape, better boxing ability, you know, all this different stuff. But Pineda was supposed to be that professional boxer that he got straight out of Mexico. Viva! He was straight out of Mexico, that whole vamos! And it's cool seeing him grow, but when he fought JJ, man, it was kind of sad, man. It was a little bit sad. It's neat seeing him now. It's a cool little tidbit that they got. I know he's fighting on the Prime card, but it was... You know, it's valid criticism. Who's he fought? You know, it's one of those things where the challenge hasn't been there for JJ since Logan, I would say. And that's kind of sad off of the professional boxers that he's fought. Besides Old Man McGee, he fought right after, which was neat to see. But it didn't look like he was putting up a fight. But again, what JJ was saying, to add credit to where it's due, he has that power. When he hits people, you can see in the ring, he'll connect every now and then. The wild swings, it'll connect, and they kind of start going, don't hurt me. And that is one of those things where the power is there. You can see it is apparent. So,
are you surprised?
No, it was inevitable, because me and Jake Paul went there for 2.5 years, 2 cancellation fights. So me beating Jake Paul, this fight was automatically going to happen afterwards, because him and Jake Paul have got beef. You know, they all want to see who's better out of them two. But me beating him just threw a spanner in the works. So now I've beat him, this was next for me. So when I knock you out, YouTube boxing is where?
Do you expect this to be harder than Jake Paul?
No. No, let me tell you now.
That's what I was saying. That Tommy jumping into the scene was neat, I guess. It was neat to see. It's cool to see them challenge themselves. But it is one of those things where if you beat the people that haven't been doing it for that long, and I mean, in one way, I would say bullying them. They exaggerated, of course, but bullying them into submission. It's one of those things like, yeah, I mean, you won, but like it salts up the whole event. You know, it would be neat. It's a cool storyline. If he beats him, it's really neat. It's really cool. But if it doesn't, it's just like, okay, well, this guy jumped in. Now everybody wants a piece of him. But yeah, after he beats all the top dogs, now what? You know, now he's in charge of the whole shebang. I don't know, man.
Don't underestimate anybody. I'll tell you for a fact what I have done, and this is on my cross my heart and hope to die. I have trained 100 times harder for you than I have Jake Paul.
Good. I want the best version of you.
You're gonna get the best version. I want the best version. And I guarantee.
And then that will just up
you
my.
You are not gonna. You'll be very lucky to escape the first round.
We'll see.
And I promise you that.
Okay, cool.
Because
I can't wait.
I'm not coming in.
I ain't going anywhere. I'll be in the middle of the ring. You can't miss me.
Oh well, I'll meet you there head on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And you'll be the one getting drove back. Because I ain't going nowhere from you.
Okay, we'll see.
No problem.
Well, we should talk about the weight.
Before they get into the weight, if we do see first round stoppage, it would be neat. Don't think either of them have had first round stoppages. As much as they go on and do it, I don't think that either of them will have first round advantages here. I think it'll probably go all 4. If anything, there'll be a random upset in round 3. I'm saying that right now, but
actually,
let's talk about
you were crying about the weight.
Wait. Can we also
Mr.
talk about the rounds?
I'll fight him at any. I'll fight him at anyway. I'll fight him at anyway.
My team got in touch with his team. I said, let's do 8 rounds. I've just done 8 rounds of Paul. No, let's talk about rounds. You want to talk about weight? I want to talk about rounds.
Yeah, so I started first.
I'm the A side here.
You're not the A side.
I am the A side. I'm the A side. I'll just beat your best friend.
Versus
no. Yeah, because you won't take the fight, you little.
KSI versus Tommy Fury.
If it wasn't KSI versus Tommy Fury, you wouldn't have took the fight. He wouldn't have took the fight. I don't care about all that bullshit.
I'm fighting you in your backyard.
Who's walking second? Who's walking?
I remember having like a late night gaming session with a bunch of friends, and we were actually discussing this when it was first being announced and how it was the whole shebang. I believe it wasn't this fight exactly. I think it was Ryan Garcia versus Tank, I think, is the one we were talking about at the time. And I think it was something around the same lines, the rehydration clause and what was actually going on behind the scenes. That being said, the weight indifference and no rehydration clause that's going into this fight is crazy to take up. I can see the whole advantage or the bragging rights that he would like to do, JJ being the one that I'm talking about. Again, mighty impressive if he does beat him. Mighty impressive. Rooting for JJ. This would be neat to see. The odds are stacked up. It's just stacked, man. It's one of those things where the luckiest, I guess, the most skilled.
First, does it matter? Does it matter?
All right, let's get those two.
Oh, I can't fight.
Mister, I don't want to do 8 rounds. I'll only do 6. I don't want to go 8 rounds. I don't want to fight 8 rounds. I'll fight 10 rounds.
We gave you everything. We gave you.
You gave me everything.
Hometown, Manchester. We're fine in Manchester.
You picked Manchester.
I mean, you
picked it.
Oh, you won as well?
No, mate. I'll fight anyway. I've just been to Saudi Arabia.
You picked the arena.
I'll fight you in the back garden. I'm not interested.
How many rounds is it?
6 rounds.
6.
I wanted 8.
Game's the game, innit?
Oh, I said 4 rounds earlier. My bad. This point right here. I know I seen before I watched this in Twitter, people were talking about this, right? Or X, whatever it's called. I don't know. To give JJ the point here, I can see where he's coming from, right? Wilder, for the weight he has, hits hard. He hits hella hard. I mean, he is known probably in the heavyweight division as one of the hardest hitters in boxing. That being said, he did lose to Tyson, but that is Tyson's better boxer, right? It's there. Like I said earlier, Wilder is one of those people that he can fight. I wouldn't call him the best boxer in the world, though. So it is one of those things where I can see the point here, and I can see the disbelief in Tommy's face. But yeah, I slightly agree. That might be controversial. I slightly agree with that statement that Wilder probably hits hard.
Let's focus on your fight, guys, between it. Looking at you both, there almost seems to be 2 different weight classes between you two. What weight's this fight going to happen at?
It's 183.
183.
Yeah. Any hydration clauses in there? Rehydration clauses in there?
No, nothing.
Straight 183.
Yeah, you're gassed, aren't you?
Straight 183. I'm happy.
183. I thought it was 185, but 183. That'll be interesting, man. That'll be interesting. And no rehydration is, again, dangerous thing. But we'll see.
I'm happy, mate.
That's a lot extra for you, isn't it?
Honestly, I'm down.
What did you fight Fournier at?
180.
Old man Fournier.
Okay,
it's not nothing. I thought Jake Paul 185.
Yeah.
Meet in the middle, sort of.
Well, if you compromise a little bit.
I'm enjoying life.
That's probably where I got 185 from. Tommy fought Jake at 185.
Feeling good.
Chefs are good.
Man. Strong, feeling strong.
That's it. Training every day, feeling good.
Yeah,
agile.
weight training's good. Getting
Everything.
PBs, running fast.
Yeah. Training camp.
Yeah, bro.
KSI, why do you want
Did they forget they were supposed to be doing like a whole enemy thing there? That kind of they're kind of be friendly there.
You could have fought anyone, right?
Yeah.
You're, as you say, you're KSI. You could have.
I just like proving people wrong. I just like the challenge. I love the challenge. Something about it that just,
gets him out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
But I think at least we can agree on one thing. I like the challenge team. Cool. And I love shutting Jake Paul. That man talked a lot of crap for 2.5 years. And guess what?
I had nothing to back it up.
Nothing to back it up. Cool. No.
I will back it up.
Well, we'll see.
Both of them are driven by that challenge. Both of them want to be that underdog, or supposedly they want to be that person that one-ups the other. I mean, it is one of the big apparent things in fighting sports in general, boxing being one of them, where you want to be. There is no other factor in this, right? It is a 1v1, right? if you play any online game, if you do anything, sorry for these comparisons, but you play and it's a team, it is different than winning on a one-on-one if you're actually playing like a Mortal Kombat, any 1v1 type game, right? For Honor, something like that, right? It is completely different winning in that and getting that accomplishment there than a team-based game. So I can see that drive being a factor in this, where they really want to be the one up. There is no other thing that will show you're better than literally winning the face-off, right? 1v1.
See, I hope you do. I hope you do, because I'm in a different mind frame here.
Cool.
I don't want to go in there and show who's the proper boxer and who's more skillful. I want this man to not walk out the ring.
I know you said at the start there that you respect everyone, hence why you've upped the training. Do you rate him as a boxer?
No.
Why not?
These guys, for me, what they are, you drag anyone out the pub on a Saturday night and they can do what you do. And I mean that. And the guys that he's fought are the same guys out of the pub.
Cool.
They don't know what they're doing. They spar up and down in the gym, they hit the pads and they think they're boxers.
Okay, that's one of the things I was talking about, that it is a completely different world if someone picks up the sport later on than if someone kind of grew up doing it. I know Tommy's been doing it for a while, so it probably does look like that to him, which again adds to the underdog factor of KSI in this fight. Just another thing.
But it's a lot different than that.
This is a huge step up for me, and I can't wait.
Okay, well, at least you can recognise that.
It's a step up, but I'm ready.
All right.
Yeah, you'll see.
At least he realises.
I mean, you.
At least he's not like the other fella sitting there across the table saying that, you know, it's not a step up, I'm lower. He was in delusional land. At least he's
I'm not delusional.
admitting.
I'm very real.
Well,
and I'm very real when I say I'm going to knock you out.
That is delusional. But I thank you for admitting that this is a big step up for you.
Yeah, cool.
And it is a big step up.
I can't wait.
Because you've never fought anybody like me.
We'll see.
You've never fought anybody
You don't think I'm going ham in sparring?
Again, this will be a huge thing for JJ, right? Like, it'll actually be interesting and very, very cool thing to happen. It'll be nice to see the underdog win. Again, we haven't seen an actual underdog type thing where people favored the other competitor rather than JJ. So if this actually does come true, this will be really neat to see.
Sparring isn't fighting, my friend. The stuff that I've done in sparring,
I've done a lot of sparring.
If sparring was like fighting, then I will be a world champion now. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
People can perform in the gym, but when it's underneath them bright lights, guess what happens?
Cool.
Ass falls out.
I mean, you talk about being a boxer, this or that, but you're...
To give Tommy that point, sparring is different than fighting. It is very different. You can spar someone and not be good at fighting. It is very apparent sometimes when you see those fights on the cards of someone that's been supposedly hitting pads, right? Everyone can look good on the pads. That's the thing that they always say. Everyone can look good on the pads. Not everybody's good at fighting. Also, thing with sparring, when you're sparring, they're not trying to kill you, right? They're not trying to actually off your head from your shoulders. So it is completely different than actually fighting in the ring, where Tommy right there in that point was saying under the bright lights, people, right? JJ also sings and does things like artistry wise. So he actually competes in things, or not competes, but performs in front of people in stadiums. So I don't see like shock or pressure getting to him in this point. That wouldn't be the factor. I would just stick to the pure fighting thing on this one.
Always running away from Vidal Riley.
Vidal Riley?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Vidal Riley can't sell a ticket.
A lot of people know.
All right, he brought up Vidal. That is a good point, man. That is a good one. He brought up Vidal. I know that in the rankings, Vidal's been talking recently. I know he's having his championship fight. Good luck to Vidal. But yeah, I mean, they're ranked right next to each other, man. He's not taking that fight. Instead, he's fighting over here. Not to give any disses where, you know, I'm not trying to diss anybody, but he is fighting JJ instead of the ranking that should be right there, instead of trying to one-up his ranking. He's avoiding that fight, and he's saying that he doesn't sell tickets. I know Vidal was talking recently about things being like he gets a lot of views. He actually is one of the boxer people online where he gets socials things going. I don't know why I said it like that. That is I fumbled over my words, but he is one of the people that actually pushes his socials. Actually, people know him. His audience is probably catered from people that watch JJ, right? Like, it is one of those things where people want to see that fight. People do want to see that fight. People will actually watch that. And now he's a name that people kind of know with his whole social thing that's going on. So him dodging is a valid point. That probably did get it under his skin a little bit.
He can't sell a ticket. And do you know what the funniest thing is, right? This is hilarious, right? So Vidal Riley, amateur champion, national champion, all this, you know, decorated amateur, whatever. Yet he wants to fight me. He's begging for a fight with me.
I mean, it's the rankings right there, man. Like, you're right there, right on that list. He wants to fight you because of that.
Crazy. I know it's even crazy. Do you know what's even crazy? Do you know what's even crazy?
What's so crazy?
KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, all these big, massive celebrities. They all calling for me.
Yeah.
I'm here, the king of the hill.
Yeah, you're the parasite.
I've just beat Jake Paul. When I KO you,
you're the virus.
Then everything's gonna be
destroyed.
Going.
It's, again, he has a point there. Tommy does have a point right here. He is the one that everybody's kind of aiming for. That's because he did insert his foot into the world of influencer boxing and crossover boxing. He did insert himself in there. So now it is one of those things where he beat Jake, and the whole big event that was supposed to happen was KSI versus Jake Paul. And now it's kind of thrown it into the loop where they kind of don't seem like they're trying to fight each other or do anything. So it is now the mission of JJ to jump in there and beat Tommy so he can be like, haha, I beat you. I don't have to fight you, to Jake, which we all kind of still want to see, but it's being delayed. And at this point, I don't know if it'll happen, especially if JJ ends up losing this. I don't know what that means for it. It'd be exciting to see what happens next, but yeah, I don't have hopes here.
Let me tell you now, something boxing isn't like anything else. You need to go to that ring and pay your dues, and I've done that a lot more times than you, and that's where you'll come unstuck, my friend.
You'll find no one that fights like me in sparring.
I'm not gonna lie, everyone in Salford Amateur Gym fights like you, and everyone is a lot tougher than you, mate.
We'll see.
I didn't want to bring this up, but I seen you yourself at In-N-Out Burger in America. The guy put it on you for a fight, and whether you can fight or not, you get stuck in.
I still got stuck in, did I not?
Do you talk about when he got jumped? Talk about when we got jumped, right? Like, before that Logan fight?
Did I run?
Yes. Up and down the car park.
No.
Bro, I watched the video this morning. Someone sent it to me.
I fought back.
He was like this.
I fought back. And
someone had to fish him back to life.
That was the early days of me boxing.
Yeah, but the difference is, if I couldn't fight at all and someone stuck it on me, they'd be getting stuck into.
Oh, yeah.
I remember hearing this thing. I forgot who it was. Someone can tell me in the comments if someone knows who I'm talking about. But one of the fighters was actually commenting on the fact that, like, in street fights, it's just not worth it to fight. It's not one of those things where even if you're, world-class boxer, world-class MMA guy, anybody, you just don't want to have that. If someone's willing to fight you on the street, it's not worth it, man. Most of the time, it's not worth it. So I could see in that video, I remember KSI did wasn't in that combative stance. He was kind of keeping his distance, kind of just staying away from the whole situation. And I could see that being valid. Like, it's one of those things where you just shouldn't put yourself in that situation, right? Like, if you had hands or you have the ability to get someone, you're just kind of like, hey, back off. Like, I can knock you out, right? I could see that being a criticism.
No, even if I couldn't box, and I've never fought before in my life, if someone puts it on me, they're getting set about.
No.
Yeah, 100%. Okay. That's the difference for a fighter. I don't worry for nobody. Okay. If Deontay Wilder walked in this room now and he had a problem with me, let's go. Because that's the type of man I am. And that's it doesn't matter about that. It matters about what you got in you, whether you got a set of balls or not.
Yeah,
I don't fear any man on this planet.
Have you not seen the size of my balls, bro?
I don't want to.
I got basketballs.
Why does him and Jake Paul keep coming out with this? Jake Paul said he was going to do such and such.
He's trolling, man. He's got to be trolling. There's no way. There's no way.
What is it with you guys?
I'm not going to
sucking Logan's too much.
What's
going on here? I don't want to see your balls. I want to see you in that ring on October 14th and get you knocked back out.
Well, we'll see.
That's it.
Tommy, do you feel like the pressure's all on you? You're the professional boxer.
Go again.
You're 9-0. You're the professional boxer. You come from Fury.
9-0.
Yeah.
Pressure's on you to win this one easily, no?
The pressure's on me last time as well.
Yeah.
And then.
This is one of the things where, pressure's there if he's the professional boxer. If he loses, that's a big yikes. I remember during the Jake Paul versus Tommy fight, I think the Fury said something about, like, he was going to get disowned, something around there. It is, yeah.
At the end of the day, the way I look at this fight is, last time was a much bigger fight because of the build-up. It was 2.5 years, back and forth. This was inevitable between me and you. The only reason why this could be a bigger card is because you got Logan Paul and the other fella. With you,
I do remember that back and forth, them fighting about everything and the fight's not going through, and Tommy seeming like he didn't want to take that fight for a while. I remember those things, people making fun of him, being like, you don't want to fight, you don't want the smoke. Yeah, I mean, it's turned out, I guess, in his favor.
I see nothing but just an opponent. A bit like in the early days where I was fighting these journeymen. I didn't know anything about them.
Yeah, especially people with
Wasn't interested.
100 losses.
100 losses?
We were fighting people with 100 losses.
You. They would beat you. I would put money down that you couldn't beat, that you could not
100
beat
losses.
half of
How
my
do you even
opponents.
find a person that has had 100 losses?
I will take it now. You wouldn't beat Dan.
I remember seeing something about that. I thought it was a joke. Is that actually true? He fought someone with 100 losses? That is jokes. That is actually jokes. If he's punching up, I mean, every boxer has something like that, right? Everybody has their like filler fights, or people they kind of fought that are kind of trash, and they just got the dub for themselves.
Daniel Bokaranski, you were fought in Wembley.
I'd fight any of them.
You
and I'd
knew
knock
you
them
wouldn't.
out. Yes.
I mean, you literally scoured the internet looking for Joe Fournier. Not boxed in 10 years.
Bro,
he's not even a boxer. Man had a fat stomach on him. House. Got in the ring. He was like this.
He was fit, right? He was fit. Joe Fournier was fit. He was just old. It's just a common thing recently.
Yeah, because he felt the power.
Felt what?
Felt
Your
the power
elbow?
and the speed.
Oh, your elbow?
Power and the speed.
It's sharp, huh?
Give JJ credit here. I remember seeing that fight when he first connected. You could see Fournier backed off after he got hit. So he does have power. I mean, everybody comments on it. I remember Logan commented on it too. That when he got connected by a hit that JJ actually stuck on him, he was like, whoa, and went in defensive mode for the rest of the fight. It is very apparent JJ does have power.
Elbow? He's in the wrong job, this man. Just a overhand. All he had to do to get out of the way, that is move your legs. Man was stuck in the mud. Listen,
He's got to take his own advice there. Move your legs. You got to connect it by a few by Jake Paul.
I've already talked a long time for this
like
other
it's
fight.
so easy, but it's not, man.
And you think this is going to be a walkover?
Yeah, it will.
Well,
you're going to have a rude awakening.
One of us is going to be proven wrong on the night.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you make of his performance against Jake Paul?
I feel like this should be a very competitive fight. Hopefully it is actually a very competitive fight. I hope it's not just a blowout from one side, because that would be kind of sad to see. But yeah, I hope it's a very competitive fight. I mean, one of the huge upsets that just happened recently was the Adesanya versus Strickland. I know I was rooting for... I mean, I love Strickland, man. Strickland is absolutely hilarious, right? But Adesanya lost that title. Strickland became champion. So it is one of those things where those upsets, you just don't see them coming. So Tommy and JJ, watch out for each other. Don't take each other for granted.
I thought it was average. Yeah. I thought it was average, man. I thought combinations were okay. I thought the pace was slow. I thought he just got pushed back too easily.
This is valid criticism.
I saw a lot of holes, and I saw a lot of opportunities as well. A lot of opportunities.
A lot of people say that, watching somebody getting...
When I watched the Jake Paul versus Tommy fight, it is one of those things where, yeah, you could see it, and the performance from Tommy just, I don't know, man, it just didn't seem like that of a pristine, really fleshed out boxer. It was kind of lacking that night. That's personal judgment here, so my opinion.
In the ring with them is a different story. Look what they all said about Tyson at the start of his career: fat, slow, can't punch, can't move, can't slip a shot. But when 30 people's got in the ring with him, 30 people's lost. So it's a lot of different stories.
Okay, and then
I don't know about that one, Chief. Tyson is a great fighter. I do like Tyson as a boxing. Freaking great. I mean, the trilogy of Wilder, it was interesting to watch. It was fantastic. One of the best fights I've ever seen, Wilder versus Tyson 3. Or Tyson versus Wilder 3. It doesn't matter. But, I mean, everybody gives him props to the boxing ability, right? Everybody gives him props. It's just his physique, I guess, is one of the things that people hold back on it. It's the same thing with Andrew Ruiz in boxing. It's one of those things where the physique kind of throws people off, but Andrew Ruiz is one of the best counter boxers in boxing. So Counterbox? Counterpunchers. Sorry.
Tommy Fury will fight KSI and lose.
We'll see.
Do you blow?
I know. Do you know what the funny thing is? I know this man will not see the final bell because I'm training.
Oh no,
like a Trojan.
I won't need to because I'm going to just knock you out.
The ref will scrape you up off the floor, my friend.
Damn. Okay.
Like getting some chewing gum off the street.
Scrape you up off the canvas. Man.
I promise you, because I've never trained like this before.
Really?
Never.
Cool. We'll see.
Never.
Yeah. Let's see. October 14th, live on the Zone pay-per-view. You heard it here as well. 6 rounds, catch weight as well. I thought you was going to do that as well.
What was that about? There's no flinching out of me, mate. But don't worry, I got a rock solid metal in it.
Calm.
And a lot more power behind me throw as well.
Was that like... Was he trying to throw it at him? It looked like he fumbled the drink. It looked like he was about to drop it, and he kind of like fumbled it. It didn't look like he was going to throw it.
Whatever, mate.
Okay.
You guys good for a
there's no flinching there. You tried to, but you didn't. And I hope your feints are a lot better. Because that was...
We'll see.
You guys good for a handshake?
No, I'm good.
No?
No. I'll help the referee scrape him off the floor on
valid.
October 14th.
All right, cool.
Should be a good one. KSI versus Tommy Fury, October the 14th, live on the Zone pay-per-view.
The little last dig there in the end. The last little dig there. I mean, interesting face-off, man. Like good little tidbits from both sides again. I have my dog in the fight, right? Like I have my own opinions on who I want to win, who I want to actually go on there. It's the same thing for everybody on the card. I kind of have my favorite. It's just seeing who actually performs better the night, I guess. I mean, the card is absolutely stacked with different things, right? Like, I mean, we got the KSI versus Tommy Fury. We got the Logan Paul versus Dylan Dennis, which is... I might make a video off of their face-off. I haven't done anything. I haven't seen it yet, but I know Alex Wasabi's fighting in it, right? Alex Wasabi's fighting Pineda. I have to look up all these names. It's just going to be really interesting to see, my guy. Like, again, everybody give me your comments in the comment section. Kind of tell me what you guys think is actually going to go down and what you think of again, my opinions on the matter. But it's looking like it's going to be an entertaining night. It is definitely looking. The only bad thing is, we still got another 2 weeks before anything even is close. Okay. Well, like I said, it's going to be very entertaining. Hopefully we get absolute performance from multiple people. I am super excited to see who actually performs amazingly, who has the best, I guess, performance of the night, who has the best knockout, if there's any. It will be absolutely amazing, I think, for anybody that's watching that's an actual fan of all these things. So, as a fighting fan, as an influencer fan, I feel like this is going to be a really stacked card. Really cool to see. So, yeah. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. This little rant section, I guess, I had. I appreciate you guys coming in and watching this stuff, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thank you. Peace.